Planet Earth, the only planet in the known universe to possess life. And here we see Australia, a place that possesses some of the most bizarre wildlife on the planet. But even its wildlife are overshadowed by that of its neighbors, a place called Yatcana Island.
Hello there guys, and welcome to the next Yatcana Island history video. So last time I left you off on the cliffhanger of wondering what in the world that Giganotosaurus picture was going to be used for. Well, it was very simple really. It was just simply used for the logo thing, whatever you call it, seal, I don't know, for the Yatcana Island National Preserve. The Yatcana Island National Preserve was made in the year 1910, following the creation of Australia. Basically, the newly founded Australia, which had only been a country for a couple years at the time, decided to go, you know what? Let's one-up all these other people doing their national park stuff and make Yatcana Island a national preserve, because it's basically useless anyway. The reason why Yatcana Island was basically useless is because it really had no natural resources on it, like, at all, other than trees. And a severe lack of any harbors to export said trees also made it so that it was really pretty much impossible to harness any of the resources there. So people just kind of left it alone. And of course, Australia got it when it gained its independence from England. The Yatcana Island National Preserve comprises of Yatcana Island and its two little sister islands, Thragon Island and the island of Calato Prosibo. Anyways, then nothing really happens for a while, so we're just going to skip to the 1960s and 70s, because that is the period for Yatcana Island known as the ceratopsian poaching epidemic. Poaching had always been present on Yatcana Island, but in the 60s and 70s it really took off. Yatcana Island's much closer proximity to the Asian markets made it so ceratopsian horn was even more widely available than that of things like rhino horn or elephant ivory. Ceratopsians were being killed in the thousands, and their populations were dropping extremely rapidly. And then some species started to go extinct. Windy ceratops, Alberta ceratops, Vaga ceratops, Utah ceratops, Mercury ceratops, Regali ceratops. Even though Regali ceratops was rediscovered in 1998, but still it was thought to be extinct at the time. This was starting to cause a bit of an upcry in the ecological peoples of the world, and many biologists were saying how this could devastate the environment, losing an entire group of animals. And we were already beginning to see the effects of that. Without the ceratopsians, many of the carnivores began to feed more heavily on the other herbivores, which put more pressure on their population, and their populations began to decrease, along with the population of carnivores. And as the herbivores became more and more rare, carnivore infights also became much more common. Being able to hold on to top herbivore hunting grounds was now a matter of survival. Devastating injuries became extremely common on the carnivores as they were fighting each other so often in order to keep the best hunting grounds. As well as without the ceratopsians to eat many of the trees, tree populations began to flood into the plains, slowly enclosing the plains, which caused some biologists to suggest that many plains-living creatures, such as Archaeopteryx, could be hit very hard, and might even be in risk of extinction too. All of this was adding tension to many environmentalists throughout the world. People were beginning to do protests and everything, to try and get the Australian government to pay more attention to the island, as the Yatcana Island ceratopsians were slowly dying off. But then the final straw happened. Triceratops yatcananis, the most beloved of all the ceratopsians on the island, went extinct. Immense environmentalist outbreak began to begin. Some organizations, such as the World Wildlife Fund, began to receive thousands upon thousands of dollars in order to help the ceratopsians on the island. Put under so much pressure, the Australian government eventually had the military go around the island in order to defend it from poachers. Some might call that a little bit extreme, others called it what had to be done. But either way, they did it. And the nearby island of Calato Prosobo basically became a ceratopsian refuge. All orphaned baby ceratopsians, which would be pretty much defenseless without their parents, were taken to Calato Prosobo to be raised. These animals were then moved to the main island once they were adults. And these tactics worked. Poaching basically ended and ceratopsian numbers began to rise, though not very steeply. The island is still very well protected from poachers, though not quite as heavily as it was in the 80s, but still quite heavily protected. But now with the ceratopsians and other animals safe, now the biggest thing going on in Yatcana Island is all the scientific research that is going on there. There are so many areas of the island that are completely unknown, such as how in the world did this island come to capture all these prehistoric animals from all over the world. With the discovery that Yatcana Island actually comprises of 4 different continental plates, it is believed that continental drift might have something to do with it, but people aren't entirely sure. Rafting of these animals is also suggested, but again, people really just don't know for a lot of this. Why exactly all these creatures have remained so unchanged is also being heavily studied. Though these animals are definitely very adaptable to have survived so long, no one's entirely sure why these ones are surviving, but not the prehistoric versions. As well as many studies on individual species are being done, because some of these things are just complex. There are so many different areas that scientists are studying of these creatures, from Spinosaurus genetic diversity, to concavenator venom, to symbiotic relationships, to Microraptor. Are these Microraptor gigas or are they Gigantquadopteryx horridus? To why so many of these creatures are so incredibly gigantic compared to their fossil counterparts. It's not just Archaeopteryx, Psittacosaurus, again the aforementioned Microraptors or Gigantquadopteryxes, Beepiausaurus, you name it. There's a whole lot of massive things on the island. And then probably the most complex area of them all, Ceratosaurus. I could devote an entire video to the taxonomical relationships of Ceratosaurus. In fact, let's do that. If we get this video up to 50 likes, then I will make an entire video discussing how Ceratosaurus are freaking weird in the way that they're taxonomically classified. Because no one's really sure if there's multiple different genuses, if some of these are actually members of Proceratosauridae, which are Tyrannosaurus if you didn't know. How some of these things are thought to be different genuses yet can breed, and it's just all like super complex and there's so many different things. Scientists are constantly going back and forth. I believe the current consensus is that there's one genus with 3 different species that all possess the ability to hybridize with each other and produce fertile offspring. But yeah, they're weird, guys. They're weird. And then very recently, this group of filmmakers decided to put in for a permit to see if they would be allowed to film on the island. And then surprisingly, the Australian government said yes. And they've invited me to be the narrator. Because why the heck not? So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I don't think it'll be all that popular though. I mean, come on. How popular could a documentary on dinosaurs be? Those have been done all the time. I highly doubt anyone's gonna watch this show. I'm just doing it for the money. Not only that, they don't even have a creative name for it. They're just calling it Yatcana Island. Who names their series that? They could have at least come up with something creative like the Dragons of Yatcana or like, I don't know, something like that. Anyways, that's it for this video. I will see you in the next one. Dino Man, out.